employees want to be able to show up with the fullness of who they are. And I think the job of the leader is to create an environment where they can do that. My name is Kofi Bruce. I am the Chief Financial Officer at General Mills. I am an AGLN Finance Leadership Fellowship member. The pandemic started about 6 weeks after I took my role as Chief Financial Officer at General Mills. My entire tenure, therefore, has really been defined by reacting to and responding to this dynamic environment. And it didn't matter if I'd been CFO for 5 weeks or 5 years or 15. There was no pandemic playbook. And once I figured that out, it was actually liberating me from a lot of the weight of the expectations that go with having this job, in that nobody else had better answers. And my confidence in my ability to navigate both with judgment, with sort of my own authentic voice in how I lead through this environment actually went up tremendously. And the things that, working remotely brings is a challenge of a little bit of impersonality, a little bit more formality of actually having to connect across the screen, but at the same time, the removal of the veneer of professionalism and polish that goes with that happening solely in an office environment. What that has done is it has humanized a lot of leaders, and it has demanded of leaders a level of comfort with that vulnerability that I think otherwise would not have been possible or accessible for a lot of people, myself included. I was responsible for a function of 1,200 people in a company with 40,000 employees. I was an enterprise leader as well, so that my responsibility wasn't just the 1,200 people who were having to be in finance jobs, but also a responsibility to the broader organization. I've had to put energy into, okay, where are people at right now? People processing challenging emotions around frustration, fear, burnout. So all these things were things that kind of came into the conversation because of COVID. And that, to me, as I think about sort of community building, at the center of that is, having to have your pulse on where people are at. A lot of times listening and going into meetings without answers, and without maybe the normal polish and script. And that, I think, more than anything, has probably been the big challenge and the big opportunity creating community. People need to feel value and valued, that they can feel heard, that they feel seen, and that their work is valued and appreciated. If we can do that, that will be the enabler for us to continue to perform. That's going to require us to continue to listen and reach out with empathy to employees. As an African American leader in the company, I was wearing multiple hats, right? So I'm wearing this hat of the role that I occupy in the function, in the company, but I'm also a Black citizen of this country. Ultimately, for me, required was for me to just wear the hat that was heaviest at the moment, right? So that there were times when, I was talking probably more to the function at that point than at any point, anybody sitting in this chair would do. It was probably weekly or bi-weekly, there was some sort of video message. Right after George Floyd, I dropped a video that I read a poem by Langston Hughes, I Too Sing America, because it so directly encapsulated the mix of feelings, rage and optimism, disappointment, the things that happen in the void between, love and the despair that comes with maybe not being loved back as a citizen of a country that you have a deep and profound love for, right? And that was probably no better way for me to connect and project both my values and my humanity as a leader. It's not something that would naturally occur to me to do outside of that environment. And those are the things that I think the crucible of sort of COVID and those social challenges in the background have left an indelible print on the way I will lead going forward, right? Because I now that feels more natural to me than maybe the veneer of professionalism that is normally required. So I don't think I'll snap back to being the same leader I was prior to COVID for that reason. Showing up that way first has been probably, as I've gotten feedback from employees, even the ones outside of my function, the thing that people remember most. And I think what it tells me is people are hungry to be connected with on that level, because it gives them the signal that it is okay for them to be processing those things themselves in the workplace. Employees want to be able to show up with the fullness of who they are. And I think the job of the leader is to create an environment where they can do that.